This carb can lower blood sugar impact, feed your gut, and help shrink hidden organ fat if you change one simple thing before eating. Most people fear rice, potatoes, and bread, yet the real issue is often how those starches are prepared, not the foods themselves. When certain carbs cool, freeze, or sit overnight, part of their starch changes shape and becomes harder for your body to digest. That changed starch is called resistant starch, and instead of flooding your blood with sugar, it travels deeper into your gut instead. There your microbes ferment it into compounds that can calm inflammation, support insulin sensitivity, and help your liver manage fat better over time. Today we will unpack the science, the food tricks, and the easiest ways to use resistant starch without giving up meals you love. To understand why this matters, we need to look at the fat most people never see, the fat buried around organs every day. The first type is visceral fat, a metabolically active fat packed around your intestines, pancreas, and other abdominal organs deep inside for years. Visceral fat is not passive storage. It releases inflammatory signals that can worsen insulin resistance and gradually disrupt normal metabolic function over time. Second concern is liver fat, which builds inside liver cells and can progress toward non-alcoholic fatty liver disease over time in many adults. A fatty liver struggles to manage cholesterol, blood sugar, and energy flow efficiently, leaving many people tired, foggy, and metabolically overwhelmed each day. Because visceral fat and liver fat often rise together, improving one can help the other, especially when insulin control improves over time. That brings us to ordinary starches, which are long chains of glucose found in foods like white rice, pasta, and bread every day. Freshly cooked starch is usually easy to digest, so enzymes break it apart quickly and release glucose into your bloodstream after meals. When blood sugar rises fast, your pancreas releases more insulin, the hormone that helps move glucose into cells or storage after meals. If those sharp rises happen often, your body can become less responsive to insulin, pushing more energy toward liver and belly fat. Over time, repeated surges create a pattern: higher insulin, easier fat storage, hungrier cravings, and less stable energy between meals throughout the day. That is why people are told to slash carbohydrates, but complete restriction often feels miserable, unrealistic, and hard to sustain long term. A smarter approach is changing how some carbohydrates behave inside your digestive system, rather than trying to avoid them forever for life. Resistant starch gives us exactly that option, because it escapes normal digestion and acts more like fermentable fiber than sugar after meals. In the small intestine, most starches are broken down early, but resistant starch passes through largely intact without becoming a rapid glucose load. That means it usually causes a gentler blood sugar response and a smaller insulin demand compared with the same food eaten hot and fresh. Once resistant starch reaches the colon, friendly gut bacteria ferment it and produce short-chain fatty acids, especially in propionate for energy balance. Butyrate is important because it nourishes the cells lining your colon and helps maintain a stronger, less inflamed gut barrier over time. A healthier gut barrier may reduce the constant inflammatory traffic that can worsen insulin resistance and stress your liver over the years. Short-chain fatty acids also influence appetite hormones, blood sugar handling, and communication between your gut, liver, and even your brain throughout the day. Though the magic is not that resistant starch burns fat directly like a drug, it improves the metabolic environment that favors fat loss. Better insulin sensitivity, steadier blood sugar, improved satiety, and healthier gut signaling together create conditions where dangerous internal fat becomes easier to reduce. Human studies do not show identical results in everyone, but the overall pattern is encouraging, especially for glucose control and metabolic health. In several trials, resistant starch improved insulin sensitivity, shifted gut bacteria, and supported better post-meal blood sugar handling without extreme dieting in adults. Some research also suggests benefits for liver fat and waist measures, though results vary by dose, food source, and each person's microbiome. That last point matters because resistant starch is not a universal miracle, and your response depends partly on the microbes already living inside you. Think of resistant starch as fertilizer for helpful bacteria. If your gut garden is sparse, changes may appear gradually rather than overnight. The good news is that gradual change is still real progress, and consistency matters more than chasing dramatic one-week transformations for your health. Now let us talk about the kitchen trick that makes this topic so practical, because you may already have the foods at home. When cooked starches cool down, some of their starch molecules realign into a tighter structure called retrograded starch after cooking and cooling. That new structure is more resistant to digestive enzymes, so less of it gets rapidly converted into glucose after you eat in your meal. In plain language, yesterday's chilled rice can behave differently from steaming rice, even though both began as the same food in your body. The same principle applies to potatoes, pasta, barley, oats, and even some breads after freezing and toasting for many people at home. You do not need exotic powders to begin. Simple meal prep can increase resistant starch in familiar foods you already enjoy at home. Let us start with rice, because it is one of the easiest examples to understand and use consistently at home for families. Cook a batch of rice, cool it fully in the refrigerator, and use it the next day in a bowl, stir-fry, or salad. Reheating that cooled rice is generally fine, because part of the resistant starch remains even after warming it back up for many meals. The result is not zero glucose, so it is not a free pass, but the blood sugar impact can be lower for many people. Potatoes work beautifully too, especially when they are boiled or baked, cooled thoroughly, then served chilled or gently reheated later for meal prep. A cold potato salad made with olive oil, herbs, and vinegar can be metabolically friendlier than a fresh steaming mashed potato for many people. Pasta can also transform, which surprises people, because cooled pasta develops more resistant starch than pasta eaten immediately after cooking for many adults. That means a pasta salad with vegetables, beans, and salmon may create a steadier response than a giant hot refined pasta dinner. Bread follows a slightly different trick. Slice it, freeze it, and toast from frozen to alter starch structure and slow impact after breakfast. This does not make bread a health food automatically, but it can be a smarter choice than soft, fresh bread eaten straight from the bag. Oats deserve attention too, because cooked oats cooled overnight can provide resistant starch while pairing well with chia, yogurt, or berries the next morning. Barley is another underrated option, offering a chewy texture, soluble fiber, and more resistant starch when cooked, cooled, and reused later for lunch bowls. Legumes are especially powerful because they naturally bring resistant starch together with protein, minerals, and substantial fiber in one package for many people. Beans, lentils, and chickpeas support fullness, nourish gut microbes, and tend to create a gentler glucose rise than many refined starches overall. That combination can help reduce snacking, improve meal satisfaction, and make healthy eating feel easier rather than restrictive or punishing long-term. Green bananas and green plantains are naturally high in resistant starch before ripening, when they are still firm and less sweet in nature. As they ripen, more of that starch converts into sugar, so the greener stage offers more of the resistant form at that point. Cooked and cooled plantains can become a delicious way to add resistant starch while keeping a familiar, satisfying texture on the plate. If you prefer convenience, bean salads, overnight oats, barley bowls, and pre-cooked chilled potatoes are realistic options for busy weekdays at home. The goal is not perfection, it is replacing some fast, refined starch exposure with more gut-friendly starch more often in daily life. Here is another important idea: resistant starch works best inside an overall meal pattern, not as a magical fix in isolation for most people. Pairing these carbs with protein, healthy fat, and vegetables slows digestion further and helps keep the blood sugar curve smoother after eating. For example, cooled rice with salmon, avocado, and broccoli is different from cooled rice eaten alone with a sugary drink at lunch. Likewise, chilled potatoes beside grilled chicken, leafy greens, and olive oil create a more balanced metabolic response than fries and soda for many people. Food context matters because your body responds to the full meal, your activity level, your sleep, and your current insulin sensitivity all together. That is why two people can eat the same bowl and experience different glucose responses, satiety levels, and digestive sensations in real life. If you have never eaten much fiber, start modestly, because adding a large amount of resistant starch too quickly can cause gas. Begin with smaller portions, drink adequate water, and give your gut microbes time to adapt to their new fuel source over several days. Some people, 1/2 cup of beans or a modest serving of cooled rice is a better starting point than a huge plate. Slow progression usually feels better and helps you discover which foods your own body handles comfortably and consistently over time, day by day. Timing can help too, especially if you tend to crash after lunch or feel sleepy after larger carbohydrate meals during busy workdays. Swapping a hot refined lunch for a more balanced meal with resistant starch may help you feel steadier through the afternoon after lunch. Many people notice less post-meal heaviness when they trade refined bread or hot white pasta for legumes or cooked and cooled starches during the day. That does not prove instant fat loss, but it often makes the healthier choice easier to repeat day after day for most people. The long game matters most because visceral fat and liver fat do not vanish from one heroic meal or one strict week. They respond to months of improved insulin handling, lower inflammatory burden, better sleep, more movement, and repeatable meal structure over many months. Resistant starch fits this long game beautifully because it upgrades foods people already eat instead of demanding a whole new identity for families. You are not forcing yourself to live on salads forever. You are teaching familiar carbs to act more intelligently in your body. Let us make the science even simpler with one direct comparison between regular starch and resistant starch inside the gut for beginners. Hot, fresh starch is digested high up, turning quickly into glucose, while resistant starch travels lower, where microbes convert it into useful compounds. One path feeds a bigger sugar surge, the other feeds your microbiome, supports the colon, and softens the metabolic roller coaster for many people. That shift may help lower the hormonal pressure that drives constant storage, cravings, and the slow accumulation of internal fat over time. It is a small physical change in food, yet it can influence blood sugar, insulin, appetite, and gut health at once simultaneously. This is why resistant starch is so interesting scientifically. It connects digestion, the microbiome, and metabolic disease through one practical lever for daily life. Now let us address a common myth. If a food contains resistant starch, you can eat unlimited amounts without consequences at all. That is false, because portion size still matters, and resistant starch does not erase calories or transform cookies into medicine for health. What it does offer is a smarter carbohydrate strategy, one that makes moderate portions work harder for your health every single day. Another myth is that you must eat everything cold forever, which is unnecessary and usually unrealistic for daily life for most people. Cooling matters because it changes structure, but many foods can be gently reheated and still retain part of that resistant starch today. So choose what is sustainable: overnight oats, reheated rice, cold lentil salad, or potato salad that actually fits your routine each week. If blood sugar is your main concern, consider using a glucose monitor or keeping notes on your energy and hunger patterns each day. Simple self-observation can reveal whether your lunch keeps you steady or leaves you craving sugar later that same afternoon. Today, overall gently. If liver health is your focus, resistant starch should sit beside other basics like less alcohol, fewer ultra-processed foods, and gradual weight control. If digestion is your focus, remember that resistant starch often works in partnership with other fibers, fermented foods, and diverse plant intake. You do not need to choose one perfect superfood. You need a pattern that repeatedly supports your microbes and metabolic flexibility over time. A practical week includes chilled oatmeal on Monday, lentil soup on Tuesday, cooled rice bowls on Wednesday, and barley salad on Thursday. On Friday, maybe you freeze and toast whole grain bread, add hummus, eggs, and vegetables, and notice how satisfying the meal feels for you. Over the weekend, boiled potatoes cooled overnight can become a quick side dish instead of another takeout meal built on refined flour. These changes are simple, affordable, and ordinary, which is exactly why they are more powerful than flashy health fads in real life. Real metabolic improvement usually grows from boring consistency, not from extreme plans that collapse the moment real life interrupts over the years. There are a few situations where caution matters, especially if you have digestive disorders, severe symptoms, or a medically prescribed diet before starting. People with irritable bowel symptoms may need to test different sources carefully because some fibers and legumes can trigger discomfort in some people. If you have diabetes or take glucose-lowering medication, changing carbohydrate patterns can affect readings, so track responses and involve your clinician today. Resistant starch is a helpful tool, not a substitute for medical care, liver evaluation, or personalized treatment when needed for serious problems. Still, for many adults right now, it offers a hopeful middle path between carb fear and constant sugar spikes every day today. You can keep familiar foods, improve their structure, and support the systems that regulate energy, appetite, and fat storage more effectively over time. That is empowering, because it turns your kitchen into part of the therapy, not another battleground of guilt and restriction for many years. Every batch of cooled rice, every bowl of beans, and every frozen slice of bread becomes a tiny metabolic upgrade for your metabolism. Tiny upgrades sound unimpressive, but repeated daily, they can shift the internal signals that shape your long-term health over many months deeply. That is how deep change often happens, not through punishment, but through kinder routines your body can actually trust and maintain today. So what should you remember most of all from everything we covered today about resistant starch, organ fat, and blood sugar today? First, the most dangerous fat is often hidden around organs and inside the liver, not just the fat you can pinch alone. Second, how a carbohydrate behaves can matter as much as the carbohydrate itself, especially after cooling, freezing, or combining it wisely today. Third, resistant starch feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which then produce short-chain fatty acids that support metabolic and digestive health over many years. Fourth, these changes may improve insulin sensitivity and help create conditions that make visceral fat and liver fat easier to reduce today. Fifth, you can build this strategy with real foods: rice, potatoes, oats, barley, beans, lentils, chickpeas, and green plantains in daily life. Start small, stay consistent, and let your routine become the medicine, rather than searching for a miracle in a bottle every day. If this video made carbohydrates finally make sense, subscribe to VitaNHealth for clear, science-based health explanations made simple every single week today. Tell me in the comments which swap you will try first: cooled rice, chilled potatoes, beans, overnight oats, or freezer toast this week. And if you know someone struggling with blood sugar, belly fat, or fatty liver, share this video and help them start gently.